You're doing this TBS thing called
Are We There Yet?
Are We There Yet?
That comes out in like May or June, I think is when it airs.
Is this like a new thing that nobody knows about, or is
Well, I haven't really. I'm just starting to kind of tell people now because they're mostly. We're shooting 10 episodes of it, and this will be the last week of shooting. Is one of those things where I don't like to talk about things before they're a reality because just things happen, you know.
Yeah.
And I have too many friends who got jobs or got great gigs, and they told the world, and then they got shit canned, or the financing fell through, or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're like, ugh, and people are like, hey man, congratulations on the TV part, and then I have to be like, oh, I didn't actually get it, or whatever. But we're pretty much done shooting it, so. And also, it doesn't air until May or June, so I'm not really promoting it. But
yeah.
If somebody were to say, hey, what have you been up to lately? That's what I would say. It's fun. I mean, I've never done something like that before, like a real sort of sitcom TV show, and
a scripted thing is probably different as well.
Yeah, and it's one of those sort of classic sitcoms from like what I grew up with. You know, the traditional sort of 3-camera family sort of sitcom, like the Cosby Show, Family Ties.
Yes.
You know, all those things that don't really exist that much anymore. I mean, they're certainly out there, you know, According to Jim or whatever, but that's awful.
Is that still filming?
I don't know whether it is, but anyway, I'm very excited about it. It's the guys who are doing it are the same guys who did by guys I mean talented men and women.
Yes.
Are the same people who did Everybody Hates Chris. And,
okay.
That's a great show. So
are you working alongside Chris Rock?
No, Chris Rock is not involved in it, but his like executive producers, like the people who produced that show are producing the show.
So can you give us a sneak peek into what it's gonna be about? So like.
Well, I mean, it's basically it's a sort of traditional family sitcom, you know, a la the Cosby Show, where it's like there's a different event that happens every week, and it's a sitcom, you know, so it's not really it's just about a family. It's about a guy who has married into this family, you know, and he now has these 2 young kids that are his stepchildren, and
so is it basically the movie, except now
it's the same premise, although Ice Cube is not playing himself, although he was in a few he's in a few episodes. I have met him.
Okay.
He's a very nice fellow. But yeah, it does seem different because I watched the movie and not very good. But I think this
still love you, Ice Cube.
Huh? No, Ice Cube is wonderful.
Is he as intimidating in real life as he looks on, like, you know?
You know, he is. It's strange because he's not physically imposing, really, but every once in a while you're like, oh wait, that's a crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. That's one of the lines from Fuck the Police. Crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. But I think I don't remember what song it's from. Anyway, it is weird every once in a while when you remember who he is, because you're just talking, you're like, oh wow, you're Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Like I've been seeing pictures of you for 20 years. It's so that is definitely odd.
And he hasn't aged a bit, also.
Not at all. Like he looks great.
Yeah.
You know.
It's kind of like LL Cool J. That's another thing you were talking about, how like a geeky black guy. You said the president is a geeky black guy, but that's basically the epitome of a cool white guy.
Yeah, they're the same.
Black guys don't age.
No, well, there's a phrase they always say, "Black don't crack." I mean, that's like a common.
It clearly does, though. But it
is ridiculous. I mean,
it's so not fair.
It's so not fair. But yeah, and the guy who plays the lead in the show is like that too. He's probably, I think he's in his early 40s. And Terry Crews, he played the dad on Everybody Hates Chris, and like in Dodgeball. You know, in Dodgeball, he was like Ben Stiller's like henchman. He's like really big, muscly black dude. You know, he's about 6'3".
Yes, I'm trying to.
The minute you see him, you'll be like, oh, that guy.
I'm wondering. I know that there are stand-up comedians and there are comedians that are on TV shows that have writers. The people that are funny on TV shows are like next to you. Are they still? No.
Next to me.
No, well, because you're funny and you do it for a living, and it's. I mean,
I think
they're not making up their stuff.
Well, I think sometimes you'd be surprised at how collaborative it can be. I mean, I know on this show that we're doing, like they're very cool about like, hey, I think I'm saying this instead. Like, that's probably depends on from show to show. Like some shows might be more open to improvisation than others. I think it's a bit of a misnomer sometimes when people say like somebody's either funny or not funny. Well, I mean, there's different kinds of funny. Obviously, there's a big difference between a sketch actor and a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one is better or one is harder than the other. They're both different. Like, I have a lot of friends who improv people, like Upright Citizens Brigade and stuff like that. It is a slightly different world. There are some people who kind of operate within both worlds, and some people who are just stand-up or just actors. Some of them are, some of them aren't. You know, I think would be the short answer. I don't think that everyone who's great at playing like the wacky neighbor in a sitcom could do stand-up.
Yeah.
And I don't think that everybody who's a good stand-up could be on a TV show, because I've seen it happen. And
yeah.
Sometimes stand-ups, a lot of being a good actor, I think, you know, I know whether I can do it or not, a lot of being a good actor is listening to the other person and responding to what the other person's saying to you. And as comedians, sometimes we're so monologue oriented that we're not good at sort of playing well with others in the performance.
Well, I think to be a good comedian, you really have to work the crowd. I mean,
you have to at least, like, I didn't do much crowd work tonight, a little bit, but
you did enough, well,
you definitely want to make people feel like, oh, I'm not just watching a DVD right now. Like, this guy's in the room with me. Like, he's reacting to a situation, and I definitely believe that you have to do that. I don't do as much crowd work as a lot of other comedians, just personally. Especially, a lot of the material I did tonight is newer material that I'm still kind of working the kinks out on, and I hate to use you guys as a guinea pig, but it's like, how else do you work on new material? You have to work on it.
Well, you have to do it in front of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's not brand new, but it's stuff that is still in the kiln, and when that's the case, you know, I have material I want to do. I have things I want to say. I don't mean to be pretentious. There's no way to say this without being pretentious, but I do feel like I do comedy because there are things I want to talk about. I'm not saying that they're smart things.
Yeah.
It might literally be about, you know, boob quadrants or whatever.
Yeah.
But there are things that I find interesting that I actually want to express to people, and I want people to walk away thinking about something that maybe I said where, sure, I want to get laughs. Everybody, that's the first order of business. You want people to laugh.
Yeah.
But not all laughs are created equal. It's like, there are some comedians, I think, who just want to be in a room full of people that think they're awesome. You know, that is the end goal. That is it. You know, that if stomping my foot made the audience laugh, I would literally just stomp my foot for 45 minutes because I'm getting exactly what I want. They're laughing. I'm just going to keep doing this. Then there are comedians who that wouldn't be enough for. You know, it's like, no, I want to feel like I want to make people laugh at things that maybe they wouldn't think they'd laugh at, or I'm not. And again, I'm not trying to say that, you know, that makes you a better person, but it's important to me. Sometimes when a material is really old, I don't even care if I get laughs anymore with it, because it's just like, oh, it's already done. Like, I already know that gets laughs. There's no challenge in that anymore. It's like I want to try to get the new laugh. You know? But
there are definitely comedians that live off of the same script, because I mean, at first it may be something that really happened, but then it just becomes, yeah, I heard that at the last show. I mean, there are people that you'll go to one show, you'll be like, God, you're really funny. You won't go back to a second show though, because you're watching the same show as the first time. It's just, you know, he looks a little older.
Yeah, I mean, there's a process to it. I mean, obviously, like when I was getting ready to shoot my DVD, you know, obviously I was doing the same show every single night because I'm trying to really polish it, you know, and hone it to a solid hour with no discernible lulls. And so over the course of a long time, you might be working the same chunk of material, but eventually you got to turn it over, you know. Yeah. And you don't dump it all at once. At least I don't. Some people do. I think Louis C.K. he says that he does that, where he'll just start completely from fresh. Usually it's like you write new material, you bring in a new bit, you get rid of an old bit, and it sort of gradually changes like that. But
and also, you know, just to plug your DVD real quick, it's named Au
Contraire is the DVD. iTunes, Amazon, it's on Warner Brothers and all that. Amazon, iTunes. Go to my website, christianfinnegan.com. If you're a Facebook or Twitter person, I actually try to write reasonably funny things. It's not always just like, hey, I'm in St. Louis, come to my show. I mean, I do do a little of that because you have to, but I actually try to at least entertain people slightly.
Yeah.
That's it for me. Thank you, Eric. And we're trying to rush because your battery's running out. Goodbye, Desales. To know you is to love you.